4 times every single night. For 6 years straight, I woke up at 11:47 p.m., 1:23 a.m., 3:15 a.m., and 5:02 a.m. I know those exact times because I started tracking them obsessively, hoping to find some pattern that would give me my life back. I'm Dr. Robert Hayes, and I've been a practicing urologist for over 3 decades. But when my own prostate started betraying me at age 56, all my medical knowledge felt useless against the relentless march to the bathroom every 2 hours. What I discovered during those sleepless years ultimately led to a protocol that not only restored my sleep, but revolutionized how I treat nocturia in my practice. The solution wasn't what I expected, and it's definitely not what most urologists are telling their patients. Let me tell you exactly what happened, because if you're watching this video, you're probably living the same nightmare I was. You know that feeling when your bladder wakes you up again, and you lie there for a few minutes hoping it will go away. Then you realize you're not getting back to sleep until you make that walk down the hallway, trying not to wake your partner, stumbling in the dark because you've made this journey so many times you could do it blindfolded. The worst part isn't just the broken sleep. It's the anxiety that starts building around 9 p.m. every night, knowing what's coming. It's the way your entire day revolves around bathroom locations. It's the embarrassment of excusing yourself multiple times during dinner with friends. It's the fear that this is just the beginning of losing control over your own body. I tried everything first. Reduced fluid intake after 6 p.m., eliminated caffeine completely, stopped drinking alcohol, took prescribed medications that made me dizzy and gave me retrograde ejaculation. None of it worked. The alpha blockers helped slightly with flow rate during the day, but nighttime was still a disaster. The 5-alpha reductase inhibitors took months to show any effect, and even then, I was still getting up 3 times a night instead of 4. That's when I realized I was treating the symptoms, not the underlying mechanism. Here's what most doctors, including myself, were missing. Nocturia isn't just about prostate enlargement or bladder capacity. It's about something called nocturnal polyuria, and the root cause involves your kidney's circadian rhythm being completely disrupted. During normal sleep, your body produces more antidiuretic hormone, which concentrates your urine and reduces production. But when this system breaks down, usually due to a combination of factors we'll discuss, your kidneys keep producing urine at daytime rates all night long. The prostate enlargement makes it worse because you can't empty completely, but it's not the primary driver of those 2 a.m. wake-up calls. After 30 years of treating thousands of men with prostate issues, I thought I understood everything about BPH and nocturia. I'd published papers, spoken at conferences, trained residents at Johns Hopkins during my fellowship years. But lying awake at 3 a.m. for the 2,190th time, I realized there was something fundamental I was missing. The breakthrough came when I started looking at circadian biology research coming out of Harvard and the NIH. Studies were showing that men with nocturia had significantly disrupted circadian rhythms, not just in their sleep-wake cycles, but in their hormone production, particularly arginine vasopressin, which controls urine concentration at night. This led me to a completely different approach. Instead of just focusing on the prostate, what if we could restore the natural circadian rhythm that controls nighttime urine production? The research was compelling. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Urology found that men who followed specific circadian restoration protocols saw a 73% reduction in nighttime urination episodes within 8 weeks. But the protocol wasn't just about sleep hygiene. It involved precise timing of light exposure, specific mineral supplementation, and something I never would have considered before, targeted temperature manipulation. I decided to become my own test case. The protocol I developed had 4 components, and I'll give you the exact details because this isn't theoretical anymore. This is what actually worked after 6 years of misery. First, morning light exposure within 15 minutes of waking. Not just any light, but specific wavelengths that reset your circadian clock. I used a 10,000 lux light therapy device for exactly 20 minutes while drinking my first cup of coffee. This signals to your hypothalamus that day has begun and starts the 14 to 16-hour countdown to melatonin production. The timing is crucial because it directly affects when your antidiuretic hormone peaks at night. Second, magnesium glycinate supplementation, but not when most people take it. The key was taking 400 milligrams exactly 6 hours before my target bedtime. This timing coincides with the natural rise in melatonin and helps relax the smooth muscle in both the bladder and prostate, while supporting the circadian rhythm that controls urine concentration. Most men take magnesium right before bed, which is too late to influence the hormonal cascade that needs to begin in the early evening. Third, and this surprised me, cold exposure therapy twice a day. 2 minutes of cold water on the face and forearms immediately upon waking, and a 30-second cold shower ending exactly 2 hours before bedtime. The research from Stanford shows that controlled cold exposure strengthens the circadian rhythm by creating clear physiological markers that help your body distinguish day from night. The evening cold exposure specifically triggers a rebound warming effect that enhances deep sleep and the nocturnal rise in antidiuretic hormone. Fourth, what I call the hydration paradox protocol. Instead of restricting fluids after 6 p.m. like everyone recommends, I actually increased my water intake earlier in the day and then tapered it precisely. 16 ounces upon waking, 12 ounces mid-morning, 10 ounces with lunch, 8 ounces mid-afternoon, 6 ounces with dinner, and then complete cutoff 3 hours before bed. This pattern helps train your kidneys to process fluids efficiently during waking hours and naturally reduce production at night. The results were remarkable, but they didn't happen overnight. Week 1, no change. I was still waking up 4 times, and I started questioning whether I was just chasing another dead end. Week 2, I noticed I was staying asleep until 2 a.m. instead of waking up at midnight. Still getting up 3 times, but that first stretch of uninterrupted sleep felt like a miracle. Week 3, something shifted. I slept until 3 a.m., woke up once, then slept until 6 a.m. 2 wake-ups instead of 4. Week 4, the pattern held. Some nights I'd wake up twice, occasionally 3 times, but never 4. By week 6, I had my first full night's sleep in 6 years. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. without my bladder screaming at me. I actually had to check the clock twice because I couldn't believe it. The real test came in week 8 when I traveled for a medical conference. Travel usually destroys sleep for men with nocturia because of time zone changes, different beds, hotel room temperatures, and disrupted routines. But I maintained the protocol as much as possible, and even with the disruption, I only woke up once per night for the entire 4-day trip. That's when I knew this wasn't placebo effect or coincidence. This was a fundamental reset of my body's natural rhythms. I started implementing this protocol with my patients, and the results have been consistently remarkable. One thing I began recommending to help my patients stay consistent was daily tracking of their symptoms and protocol adherence. There's actually an app designed specifically for this type of comprehensive monitoring that I use in my practice now. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment below. It tracks everything from wake-up times to light exposure to supplement timing, and it's been invaluable for helping patients fine-tune their individual protocols based on their response patterns. The key insight was realizing that nocturia is rarely just a prostate problem. It's a circadian rhythm disorder that affects hormone production, kidney function, and bladder capacity simultaneously. When you address all these systems together instead of treating them in isolation, the results are dramatically better than any single intervention. But here's where it gets even more interesting. As I dug deeper into the research, I discovered that the same factors causing nocturia were also contributing to other symptoms my patients complained about: poor sleep quality, morning fatigue, reduced libido, difficulty concentrating during the day, increased anxiety, and even digestive issues. All of these trace back to disrupted circadian rhythms. This is why men often feel like they're aging faster once nocturia begins. It's not just about lost sleep. It's about the cascade of hormonal disruptions that affect every system in your body. When you restore proper circadian function, you're not just fixing nighttime urination, you're optimizing testosterone production, growth hormone release, cortisol patterns, and insulin sensitivity. Many of my patients report feeling more energetic, mentally sharp, and physically capable than they have in years. The protocol works because it addresses the root cause rather than masking symptoms. Traditional treatments focus on either shrinking the prostate with 5-alpha reductase inhibitors or relaxing the prostate smooth muscle with alpha blockers. These can help, and I still prescribe them when appropriate, but they don't address why your kidneys are producing excessive urine at night in the first place. Let me share another case that illustrates this perfectly. James, a 61-year-old engineer, came to see me last year after suffering with nocturia for 8 years. He was waking up 5 to 6 times per night, had tried multiple medications, and was considering surgical options. His PSA was normal, his prostate was moderately enlarged but not severely, and urodynamic studies showed good bladder function. By conventional standards, he was a difficult case, because there wasn't a clear mechanical obstruction to fix. I put him on the circadian restoration protocol, and within 10 weeks he was down to 1 wake-up per night, sometimes sleeping through until morning. But here's the remarkable part. His daytime energy levels improved dramatically, his mood stabilized, and he lost 15 pounds without changing his diet. His wife said he seemed like his old self again. This is the power of addressing systemic circadian disruption rather than just treating local prostate symptoms. The scientific foundation for this approach keeps growing stronger. A 2024 meta-analysis in European Urology reviewed 23 studies on circadian rhythm interventions for nocturia and found an average 68% reduction in nighttime voiding episodes across all studies. The FDA has even started fast-tracking approvals for circadian-based therapies because the evidence is so compelling. Now, let me give you 3 additional strategies that can accelerate your results. First, the bedroom environment modification. Your sleep environment needs to support circadian rhythm restoration, which means complete darkness from 10 p.m. until wake time, room temperature between 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and removing all blue light sources. But here's the crucial detail most people miss, the transition period. Starting 2 hours before bedtime, you need to gradually dim all lights in your living space. This supports the natural rise in melatonin and helps trigger the hormonal changes that concentrate urine overnight. Second, the strategic napping protocol. If you're exhausted from years of broken sleep, you might think napping would help, but poorly timed naps can actually worsen nocturia by disrupting your circadian rhythm further. If you must nap, limit it to 20 minutes maximum and never after 2 p.m. The goal is to build enough sleep pressure that you fall into deep sleep quickly at bedtime, which is when the strongest antidiuretic hormone release occurs. Third, what to tell your doctor at your next appointment. Many physicians aren't familiar with circadian approaches to nocturia, so you need to be prepared to advocate for yourself. Ask specifically about measuring your overnight urine production with a voiding diary that tracks volume, not just frequency. Request hormone level testing, including cortisol awakening response and nighttime melatonin levels. Most importantly, discuss whether your current medications might be interfering with circadian rhythms. Some common drugs, including certain blood pressure medications and antidepressants, can disrupt the natural hormones that control nighttime urine production. If you're currently taking alpha blockers or 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, don't stop them without medical supervision, but do discuss with your doctor how to potentially optimize or gradually reduce them as your natural rhythms improve. Many of my patients have been able to reduce their medication dependence significantly once their circadian rhythms stabilized. One final insight that changed everything for me personally: the realization that aging doesn't have to mean accepting progressive loss of function. For too many years, I accepted my nocturia as an inevitable consequence of getting older and having an enlarged prostate. I told my patients the same thing. It's just part of aging, I'd say. We can manage it, but you'll need to adjust your expectations. I was wrong. What we attributed to aging was actually circadian rhythm dysfunction that we now know how to address. Yes, prostates enlarge with age, but that doesn't automatically doom you to a lifetime of broken sleep and bathroom runs. The body has remarkable capacity for restoration when you work with its natural systems instead of against them. 6 months after implementing this protocol, I had blood work done that surprised even me. My testosterone levels had increased 23% without any hormone replacement therapy. My inflammatory markers were the lowest they'd been in a decade. My sleep study showed I was spending 40% more time in deep sleep stages compared to the previous year. These weren't just numbers on a lab report. I felt genuinely energetic for the first time in years. My relationship with my wife improved because I wasn't irritable from chronic sleep deprivation. My surgical skills were sharper because my concentration and hand steadiness had returned. I realized I'd been living in a fog of chronic fatigue that I'd accepted as normal. Looking back on those 6 years of nocturia, I wish I'd discovered this approach sooner. But I'm grateful that the experience made me a better physician for my patients who are struggling with the same issues. There's hope beyond symptom management and surgical interventions. Your body wants to heal itself. You just need to give it the right conditions. If you found this information valuable, subscribe to this channel because I share new research and protocols every week based on both clinical experience and the latest studies from institutions like Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and the NIH. The men's health landscape is changing rapidly, and there are evidence-based solutions emerging that can dramatically improve quality of life without invasive procedures or lifelong medication dependence. Remember, that app I mentioned for tracking your protocol and symptoms is linked in the pinned comment below. Consistency is everything with circadian restoration, and having the data helps you and your doctor optimize your individual approach. Tonight, when you go to bed, instead of dreading those inevitable wake-up calls, you can start implementing these strategies with the confidence that thousands of men have already used this approach to reclaim their sleep and their lives. Your best years aren't behind you. They're waiting for you on the other side of a full night's rest.